ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਕਾਫੀ ਵਿਕਸਿਤ ਮੁਲਕ ਹੈ, ਔਰਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਦਮੀ ਦੇ ਬਰਾਬਰ ਹੱਕ ਨੇ, ਪਰ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਵਜੂਦ ਵੀ ਆਏ ਦਿਨ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਵਿਤਕਰੇ ਤੇ ਘਰੇਲੂ ਹਿੰਸਾ ਦੇ ਮਾਮਲੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਇੱਕ ਨਵੀਂ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ ਨੇ ਕਈ ਚੁਕਾਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਤੱਥ ਪੇਸ਼ ਕੀਤੇ ਨੇ। ਇਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਮਾਹਰ ਪਾਮ ਪਾਲਮੇਟਰ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਸਾਂਝੇ ਕੀਤੇ ਨੇ।
Well, when we were doing the research, we expected to find some similarities and some trends, but not to the extent that we did find. Like every single report identified sexualized violence and racism in the RCMP. Every single report that we found was calling for some kind of external review, and that people address the predators, actually weed out the predators, because the other thing we found that was shocking was that even though there's so many class actions, they in fact never got rid of the predators, the people who are committing the sex crimes. Well, think about it on two fronts. So within the RCMP, you've got some Indigenous women who are RCMP officers or contract staff, for example, and they were specifically targeted by RCMP officers, some of them presuming that they might have been abused when they were younger, so they'd be easier to target. And then think about Indigenous women and girls outside of the RCMP, and we know that the RCMP are the majority policing force of First Nations, for example. Not only have they fallen down on investigating murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls, but they themselves have been engaged in acts of violent sexual assault against Indigenous women and girls with almost complete impunity. There's like no recourse for Indigenous women, because all of this that's happening in the RCMP amounts to an abuse of power. For racial motives, sexual motives, whatever it is, it's an abuse of power. So you have to look at who has power over the RCMP, right? And this is the federal government. The federal government is the one that's tasked of making legislation, making regulations, overseeing its own institutions, and they've failed to step up and do that. So what we were trying to do is synthesize all of these reports, show Canadians that this isn't just about statistics, this isn't just about hiring practices. This is about real sexual violence, physical harm, and long-term mental trauma